Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're here today in episode 2683 of the Cabral Concept, our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. Glad you could join me here again today. Hopefully, you're going to get some value out of listening to other people's questions because remember, sometimes we learn the most from what other people ask and then we understand how we can apply it in our life or maybe a family member's life, a client's life, if you're a health coach, or many others. And sometimes these things may happen, unfortunately, in the future, and we're going to be much more aware of how to draw back upon that knowledge and then be able to apply it in your certain situation. So every single weekend, we answer about a dozen of our community's questions. These questions come in from all around the world, and always excited to see what they are. Just opening up the document now, and it looks like we left off on, let's see, Louis. And so Lewis is going to be up first. I feel like we got to a Lewis yesterday. Did we? No, the names start to blend when you've been answering as many questions as I have on a daily basis. But again, all things wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging. So let's get started. First question is, hi, Dr. Cabral. I was looking at your steps for doing the liver and gallbladder flush and had a few questions. You reference Andres Moritz on that protocol, but you don't include the step mentioning the colonic both before and after the flush. Maritz says that this is a critical step to prevent toxemia and does not even recommend the protocol if one does not do the colonic at least once, the one after the protocol being the most important. I was wondering why this step is omitted in the process you posted and if you think it's necessary. Also, what are your thoughts on a home colonic kit? Should coffee be added to the colonic or should it just be distilled water? Thanks. Okay, happy to help with this. So Andres Moritz got his protocol basically from Ayurvedic medicine. Ayurvedic medicine has obviously been doing Basti-based enemas or flushes for thousands of years. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you can easily look it up. It's just on my website at stephencabral.com/podcast. You can type in amazing liver and gallbladder flush, that's fine, or cleanse, and it'll come up. So this is different than the functional medicine liver detox. This is actually using something called malic acid, or some people use apples. But then what really happens during the last 24 hours, you're using Epsom salt combined with grapefruit, combined with olive oil, and you're essentially flushing the bile out of the liver. So the thing is, though, that you're drinking this upon going to bed on whatever night it is, and then waking up the next morning and having a lot of bowel movements in order to continue to flush a lot of this bile out. It's refuted by some, but certainly felt with amazing anecdotal evidence by many, many others. What I would share with you is that there is absolutely no need for a colonic or enema after you go through this process. You can. There's nothing wrong with that, but you are having loose stool for an hour, 2 hours, potentially 3 hours. So basically, when you wake up at, let's say, 7 in the morning and you take that next drink, you're going to be home until about noon, like for most people. So this isn't something where you are not, but I will say, if you have not had multiple bowel movements and had a complete emptying, then yes, you should do a colonic at home, or I should say an enema at home. You can absolutely go to have a colonic that next day. You could have it scheduled. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong to do that. But you are going to take care of this all in one process, and you'll be having multiple bowel movements that next morning, as you should, to eliminate all of this. So do I believe in coffee enemas? Yes. I talk about them in my book, The Rain Barrel Effect, and I have plenty of podcasts on coffee enemas as well. You can find those at stephencabral.com/podcast. You can just type in coffee enema, Distilled water is fine, but a coffee enema is actually going to help you produce more of the glutathione, S-transferase, or glutathione, basically the powerful antioxidant and sulfur-based amino acid needed for detoxification. And it's going to dilate those bile ducts, helping to remove more toxicity from the liver. So yeah, lots of podcasts on that. And then of course, I would definitely check out the rain barrel effect, which, because again, I'm not saying everybody should do the liver and bile flush, but I like to make people aware of it. Okay. All right. Kim is up next. Could you do an Ask Cabral on Huperzine or Huperzine A? Tim Ferriss is talking a lot about it for REM sleep, etc. I would like to know your thoughts on the pros and cons and dosing. Cheers. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to talk about it. Typically used in traditional Chinese medicine. It comes from moss, I think typically like a club moss, and it is high in nutrients that have been associated with cognition, with memory, with learning, and so yes, it could improve REM sleep. I do not use products like this. I've never needed a product like this nor seen a use for it, because I am always looking at balancing the underlying root causes of health issues. And so this would never be an ongoing product I would use. This is more of a recreational-based product that some people might be using in the biohacking realm to improve things like acetylcholine and other issues with the brain. Now, again, it doesn't mean that I'm against it, but a healthy body is already balanced. So now you're trying to produce something that a healthy body shouldn't need more of. Again, in the short term, I'm not against it, just like I'm not against lion's mane and I'm not against, a lot of other great products. But do you really need to be doing these things to push neurotransmitters in your body if your body's already healthy? And if you do need these things, why aren't you producing enough of them? So I'm a peel back the onion kind of practitioner, find out the underlying root causes to why you're not producing those in the first place, rather than just supplementing with an herb in order to get more of that while neglecting what the true underlying root cause may be. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, nothing against Tim. I think his work is great. I have no issues with that. It's just a different philosophy of how I practice. I'm more foundational based rather than going specifically into, again, I'll use the herbs, but never long term. It would be more, I need to overcome something in the short term while working on the long-term fix. Tim asks, hi, Dr. Cabral. Are you familiar with cranial facial release? I've always felt complete stuffiness and imbalances in my head and feel like I'm always clogged up. I also suffer from hemiplegic migraines. I recently heard of this cranial facial release and wanted to get your thoughts and insight. Thank you. Yeah, Tim, I would absolutely look at underlying fungal-based overgrowth or mold toxicity as a stealth pathogen. I have a podcast on stealth pathogens. I've got a lot on when those sinuses are congested, you're going to feel a lot of pressure. It may also then lead to issues with histamines, and histamines could also lead to then issues with migraines. Please go deeper on this topic. If you need us to help you find podcasts on all of those topics, we're happy to. Just ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. Okay, now about cranial facial release. Yeah, I think there can be absolutely benefits from that. So their cranial facial release is just kind of an overarching name. There's something called buccal, B-U-C-C-A-L, facial massage, where they're actually reaching in under the gum or under the lip-based area and massaging all around the muscles. And it's incredible for a lot of people. A lot of people get a great release from that, TMJ, overall tension in the face and jaw. I don't see a lot of downside as long as you're working with a qualified is the key, practitioner. All right, Eugenia is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I love your podcast. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with all of us. Thank you, Eugenia. My question is regarding my 10-year-old son who keeps getting styes and chalazions in his eyes. They're usually big and noticeable, and they take a long time to heal and finally go away. But then another one appears. We treat them with warm compresses, but I'm wondering if he could have any deficiencies or vitamins, minerals, or what the reason they appear in the first place. Could it just be stress from school? Thank you. Okay, yeah, happy to help. So not everybody obviously has this manifestation, but yes, it could be stress from school. Oftentimes it's a blockage in the particular oil or glands or ducts themselves. And for that, I like to look at, what does the nutrition look like? Is it higher in omega-6s? Is it higher in inflammatory omega-3s? Is he dealing with herpes-based issues? Because even at 10 years old, you could have herpes-based viruses. That's not uncommon by any stretch of the imagination. Would a product like L-lysine be helpful, or echinacea, or vitamin C, or apple cider vinegar, or would any of these things be beneficial? That's what I look at. And then I'm looking at underlying gut-based issues, always in general in terms of overall health. So a good test for a 10-year-old would be called the starter kit. And then if you wanted to add on to that inflammatory test, you absolutely could. Those are available at stevencabral.com/labs. The starter kit involves the heavy metals and the minerals and stress, and the Candida metabolic and vitamins is a part of that, and that looks at vitamin levels. It looks at fungal-based markers on the first page. It looks at a lot of stress markers too, so it's a really great lab. All right, hopefully that's helpful. And the inflammation test would look at the omega-6s to omega-3s. And food sensitivities is a great one to look at as well. So if you'd like to run that, you could run them all at the same time. All right, Anonymous is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. I've had a similar health journey to you and struggled since I was a kid. Strep and pneumonia and endless sinus infections, and was prescribed too many antibiotics. I've been on a healing path for a few years, and with the help from your team, I've seen great changes. Happy to hear that, Anonymous. You completed the Dr. Cabral detox, the CBO protocol, heavy metal detox, etc. I've gotten to a healthy weight, and my seasonal allergies are pretty much gone. The one thing that hasn't changed is my tonsils are still very enlarged, but not painful. I've listened and implemented your suggestions from your other podcasts, and know you helped your daughter with this too. I'm in my 30s now, and my question is, will I ever be able to shrink them? They've been swollen pretty much my whole life. Thanks for your input. Well, it's a good question, Jackie. And I can't give you that exact answer, right? I haven't given you my disclaimer yet, but I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis. But it's worth a shot, right? It's worth a shot because there's almost no downside. And so unless you're sensitive to any of the herbs or vitamins, minerals, etc. So please go check out at stevencabral.com/children-protocol. And that will be my tonsil protocol. But as an adult, you could do a stronger one. And the stronger one would actually be gargling fire cider, and then doing an actual throat spray in addition to the children's one on the back of your throat. Now, when you gargle fire cider, you don't need to swallow it. You could just spit it out. Now, it will burn a little bit. It's strong. There's garlic and cayenne and so much more, but that's actually stronger than the children's-based protocol. The children's-based protocol is still great to gargle with, but adding that fire cider, that's almost as powerful as you can get. All right, thank you, Anonymous, for writing in. Steven's up next. Hi, Doc. Can you go over the differences between nattokinase, serrapeptase, and lumbrokinase regarding the effects? Lumbrokinase seems to be much more powerful than the others, specifically fibrinolytic, while the others are getting all of the attention. Why? Is serrapeptase better at removing biofilms, alleviation of pain? Where does one excel where the others fail or are less effective? Okay, great question. Yeah, I haven't been asked about lumbrokinase before. Well, let's go through the others. Serrapeptase is part of our proteolytic enzyme formula, along with nattokinase. Serrapeptase is best for solid, again, not providing any medical advice, solid tumors, scar tissue, or tissue that needs to be broken up, cysts, etc., in any way. That's serrapeptase. Nattokinase is used for the cardiovascular system, such as fibrin buildup in the cardiovascular system, hardened arteries, and it also contains vitamin K2, which is highly beneficial at moving the calcium, maybe from the arteries, to the bones where it should belong. Lumbrokinase has more of a anti-fibrinogen effect, or fibrinolytic effect that you just specifically talked about, and is more powerful. However, using nattokinase and serrapeptase together, we combine them to get phenomenal results. That's in a product called proteolytic enzymes. You can find that at stephencabral.com/shop. But I will say lumbro kinase is also effective and stronger if you are looking specifically for a cardiovascular fibrin-based one. So I like the studies on nattokinase. I like the studies on serrapeptase. They're more well-rounded, where lumbro kinase is more specific to the fibrinogen and can be very effective. So yeah, it's a great enzyme as well. Absolutely. So hopefully this was helpful. These were really great questions. That was our 6 for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Again, you can find all of the podcasts, all of the free copy of the Rain Barrel Effect, previous podcasts, the support group, the labs, everything at stephencabral.com. That's Stephen with a PH. If you want to head on over there, you are welcome to, and I'll be back tomorrow on our Mindset and Motivation Monday, the best way to start the week. Take care. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stephencabral.com/courses.